Hope everyone is doing amazing. I'm super excited to share our newest bot strategy, which is the Mega Scalper. But first, I do want to mention that we are an education company, that we do not provide financial advice. Some of what we will show you today will be based on previous results. And as you all know, past performance does not dictate future success. So never risk more than you can afford to lose. Be smart. You're responsible for your own financial decisions. And with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. Okay, so first and foremost, we want to talk about funded accounts, and we're going to hop over here to Apex Trader Funding. A lot of our clients use Apex because the most popular reason is this right here. They offer 80, sometimes 90% off sales frequently. In this case, they have this deal for the next 3 days. Okay. So what that means is if we scroll down here to the Trade-Evate plan, which we recommend, they have two different smaller account sizes to start with, 25K and 50K. And what we really, really recommend is actually the 50K, right? So if you look at this $167 a month with 90% off, it's quite a deal for those of you who don't necessarily have trading capital to start with. And the way that this works is you're basically growing like a paper trading account. You're growing it a certain amount. In each case, there's a goal here, 3,000 or 1,500, depending on your account size. And you're growing it that amount without losing what they refer to as trailing threshold or drawdown. Now, drawdown is basically, accumulation of all your losses kind of added up, right? So like how much you are down in your account. Now, each one has a different goal. So 1,500 here, 2,500 here. Each one does have different profit goals and different drawdown requirements. It's all relative and specified based on the account size. Okay. So if you guys have a piece of paper and a pencil, I would love for you guys to take a couple notes here. And what I'm going to do is we're just going to focus right now on the 50K account. The reason is because it ends up working out to be about $16.70 a month for 90% off, right? And as you guys know, that's only, this is $14.70. That's only $2 a month more for literally double the buying power. Okay. So what I want you guys to write down is $50,000 and it's $16.70 a month. I believe their deal is they raise it to 80% off the second month. So still a very, very decent deal to get started. And so all you need is one account to get started. Okay. Now, the first thing you write down, of course, $50,000. The second thing I want you to write down is the goal. The goal is $3,000. You got to grow it positive $3,000 without losing 2,500, right? So goal $3,000. The next thing you write down is your drawdown. We refer to it as drawdown, or they call it trailing threshold. And that is your drawdown is minus 2,500. So you have to grow this 3,000 without losing $2,500, right? The next thing, of course, you're going to write down the price, $16.70 per month. And the cool part, if any of you guys have ever used funded accounts before, is if you were to blow up an account, let's say you hit your $2,500 drawdown on your next billing cycle. So let's say you sign up today, May 29th. In a month on your next billing cycle on June 29th, if you blew up your account, guess what? You get a free reset, right? Because there's a monthly fee, you get a free do-over. Now, a lot of funded account programs make you pay for, especially the one-time funded account programs from lots of other providers that you may pay $400, $500, sometimes $1,000. I've seen $2,000, $3,000, even all the way up to $5,000. If you blow up those types of accounts, you got to pay another $5,000. And that's a lot to fork out, right? But I'd much rather something like this, instead of paying $500 one time, I'd rather pay $16.70 and get free resets, right? Now, not only does it provide the ability to grow the account, we'll call it like an evaluation, where you get a chance to grow the account, but it also provides access to real-time rates. So in this case, we're trading futures and you get access to the real-time rates. Again, all that's bundled in your monthly pricing. And then you get access to NinjaTrader, the NinjaTrader license itself. So you get the software itself. Okay, so again, write down $50,000, $3,000 goal, negative 2,500 drawdown, and it's 1670 a month. Now, two more things we need to touch on real quick. And that is what we recommend is we're risking per trade, we're risking, I wish this would just stay put. What we're risking is 10% of this, right? So 10%, so we're risking, so write down risk $250 per trade, right? $250 per trade. Now, what that means in this case is you technically need to make about 12 trades. We'll call it 12R, 12X your risk, right? So your $250 per trade, 10%, gives you 10, you're allowed to lose 10 trades in a row. And you have to kind of hit 12 positive, 12 trades, like a net of 12 trades to hit your goal. Okay, so the risk is $250 per trade. Now, the last and final thing I want you guys to write down is the number of contracts. You'll see each one of these has different limitations for contracts. And in this case, we're going to be trading micros. So we're going to be looking at MES, MNQ. The ES stands for the S&P 500. The MNQ stands for, the NQ stands for NASDAQ. The letter at the beginning stands for micro. So micro ES and micro NASDAQ. In this case, write down 100 contracts. Now, our bots are the only ones that I'm aware of. Maybe there's one other company out there that are designed for using futures trading that are designed for funded accounts. So there's two very, very important things with funded accounts that you can't just go take any bot you find off the street or anyone even that you sometimes spend big dollars for. You can't automatically go put it in a funded account. Well, why? Well, as you guys can see here, the trailing drawdown is very, very fixed. It's a fixed amount, $2,500, right? So you have very rigid controls and rules you have to follow for a funded account. Now, Apex is not the only account that we work with. We work with dozens of, there's literally hundreds of them out there. And so there are different rules. Each funded account program and each account size has slightly different rules. You guys can see the 100K account has a different goal, different trailing threshold, right? You'll see on the small account, your goal and your drawdown is about a 1-to-1 ratio. Over here, it's about a 2-to-1 ratio, right? You got to make $2 for every $1 you're allowed to lose, right? So they all have slightly different rules. So again, number one thing is you have very rigid rules for drawdown. The other thing is that most funded account programs require you to be in cash at the end of the day, meaning you are not allowed to swing trade or hold trades for multiple days. They do not allow that. So that requires bots to like force, going into cash at the end of the day if you're not already. Those are some features and some functionality that our bots were designed with, okay? So that is basically how the Apex account works, how funded accounts work. You have a goal, you have to grow that account that amount, in this case, $3,000 without losing $2,500. Again, positive $3,000 without losing $2,500. So you could say you take the account from $50,000 to $53,000 without losing that $2,500, okay? So it's not hard to do. We have people who've done it in a day. We have people that, sometimes takes longer. I've done it many times myself, usually about 30 days or so, give or take. There's a lot of variables that go into that, so don't quote me. I've done some in a week. There's a lot of variables that go into how long it takes. Everyone wishes it would, click a button and it's done. Unfortunately, these are not ATM machines. You have to have strategies and it takes a little bit of time, right? And you're going to have some losers, of course, some losing trades that maybe kind of work against you just a little bit. So that is the basics of how funded accounts work. Now, again, we work with Apex and dozens of other funded account programs, as long as it works with NinjaTrader, the NinjaTrader platform. We're using NinjaTrader 8, the latest version. As long as it works with NinjaTrader, it'll work with our system. So go ahead and throw any questions into the chat if you have any questions about how those funded accounts work. And we're going to hop over into our software itself, and we're going to take a look at our software, and we're going to take a look and dive into and look at the Mega Scalper, okay? So first and foremost, this is NinjaTrader 8. We're currently looking at a chart of MES. Again, remember, M stands for micro. ES is the ticker for S&P 500, and you guys know the S&P 500 is an index of 500 stocks. Sometimes it's 501, 500 stocks. So in this case, we're looking at a 1-minute chart. You can run this on a bunch of different things. So in this case, we're just looking at the 1-minute chart itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up, pop this open, and we're going to look at the Mega Scalper. The Mega Scalper is what we're talking about today. Now, side note is, of course, when you join our program, you get access to all of our technology, not just the Mega Scalper, which is what we're talking about today, the Mega Scalper. In our last couple months, we talked a lot about the Mega Snapback, and then months before that, we talked about the Mega Orb. Those are the latest technology that we have built. Today, we're talking about the Mega Scalper. Again, when you join our program, you get access to all of them, not just the one we're talking about today. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at is on the right here. You'll see all these settings that are configured and designed that allow you to make some changes, make some customizations, okay? Now, the first thing, do you guys remember, what did you write down for risk? How much, if we're using a 50K account, so we're using a 50K account, the goal was 3K, right? So we'll call it the 3K goal, draw up sign. The down sign, meaning you can lose 2.5K, 2,500. But what was the risk? Remember, we recommended a risk based off of this number. What was the risk that you guys wrote down? You guys remember? So I believe you wrote down $250. $250 was the risk, right? And that's per trade. And using that, that gives you you're risking about 10% of your overall drawdown, right? So it's kind of like you have 10 attempts as far as losing trades, you're going to have 10 losing trades in a row, essentially, right? Now, the other thing was our maximum contract size. In this case, the system can trade options. It could trade stocks. It could trade futures. It could trade crypto. It could trade anything NinjaTrader allows you to trade. So we refer to that instead of contracts or shares. We just say lot size, kind of a even generic term, which was 100. Again, 50K account, we were limited to 100. Okay. Now, the rest of these are basic kind of like defaults. A maximum drawdown, you can set that to, it'll keep trading until you hit a level of, whatever comfort level you are, to say, hey, I want you to stop trading. And then you can, of course, define how many trades per day you can take. That can be 3, that can be 99. And so this can be configured a whole bunch of different ways. You can say, hey, I want to trade 99 times, 99 trades per day, as long as it sees it and the strategy is executed. But I want to stop once we hit negative $500, right? Negative 500, I just want you to be done for the day. So if you hit a huge winning streak, it's going to keep going, keep going, keep going until it hits minus 500, or basically 2 losing trades, right? Now, the cool part about our technology is we're the only company that I'm aware of that has futures trading automation that has what we refer to as fixed risk. Again, fixed risk. We're not saying risk 1%. We're not saying add to losing trades. We're just saying risk a certain amount, in this case, $250. Now, the cool part is that we can manage and say, I want to, for every $250 of risk, I want to make 2 times that amount, right? So if we lose with this configuration, we're going to lose $250 per trade. But when we win, we're going to win 2x that, or plus $500, right? Pretty cool. So these are all settings that we can configure. We can define what our starting and stop time is. Again, this depends on what time zone you're in. Obviously, if you're in Europe, or if you're in the West Coast of the US, East Coast, or in I know we have a friend in Alaska, whatever time zone. We have some on the East Coast, some on the West Coast. Whatever time frame, whatever time zone you're in, that would be relative to your time zone. Now, remember I said that we have to be able to close the trade at the end of the day so that we're able to go to cash at the end of the day. And the reason for that is because our funded account programs don't allow swing trading, right? So what that means is if we're in a trade, we're up a little, down a little, whatever, we haven't exited, it's still just kind of going sideways. We have to be able to manually close that down. We have to be able to automatically close down any open orders, close down any positions. And that's essentially what that checkbox does, is automatically closes that. We can configure what time we want that to occur. It does not have to be at the market end. Of course, you can set that to whatever you want. So if you're in Central Time Zone, you set that 5 minutes before the end of the market closes. So that way you're not caught holding a trade from one trading session to the other. Now, this does have some built-in trailing stops. You guys are probably familiar with trailing stops. And it basically just allows us to, as long as we're in a trade and we're winning, our trailing stop's going to automatically kind of be moving in our direction and kind of help us protect those profits, right? So we're not going from a big winning trade to a big losing trade. It's going to keep protect those profits. And it isn't ticks. You can set that to whatever you want. Obviously, pretty simple to do. Now, the way that this works, the way that we define trends in this case, is that we use three moving averages. These are the defaults. So a 10, a 30, and a 100. And what we define as a trend is all three moving averages are pointing in the same direction. They're not crisscross, right? In this case, this is what would an uptrend would look like. In this case, this is what a downtrend would look like. Now, of course, you can check those and it'll draw it on the chart, and you can define what the colors are. And again, these are EMAs, which are exponential moving averages. So pretty basic, like, what's the word? Pretty basic indicators. And so you can certainly draw those on the chart. It's pretty simple. Everything else is pretty much like default, right? So there's lots of cool stuff on here that you can set up and look at and run by default. Now, of course, some of these numbers, so your risk and your maximum lot size, that's going to be relative to the size account you have. Now, I have a 300K account with Apex, and that allows me to do what? Well, I'm going to use a bigger risk, $750. Why 750? Well, because I have 7,500 of drawdown, but my maximum lot size is actually 350. So these numbers are all help you adjust the technology to your account size, to your risk preference, right? And we do help you kind of think through some of those settings when you first join. Okay, so you guys want to look at how this works. Let's take a look on the chart. Let me close this out. Let's take a look. This is what it looks like when it's set up on the chart. And I have some examples on here. Let's take a look. Let me see. Let's see if we get some more trades besides just the one. Here we go. And you guys can see here what happens when you have three trades kind of all lined up going in the same direction. This is kind of a trending area, right? All three moving averages are lined up. And let me see if I can find some more trades, more than just one or two. Because we're looking at a 1 minute chart, we're going to be scrolling through quite a bit here. There's another look at that nice trending run. And I forget what the settings were that I put on here, but let's take a look, see if I can get some more trades. Tell you what, let's do this. Let's go take a look at the strategy performance. So let's look at, in this case, we're going to run a back test. So we're basically going to look at today going back 90 days. So whatever is on our chart going back 90 days, right? And what this is showing me is it's showing me kind of how much I've made so far net profit and how much my my overall drawdown was. Now, do you guys remember what those rules were on that you wrote down? Remember, our goal was what? Our goal was $3,000, right? But our drawdown limit could not be more than 2,500. Do you guys agree that this meets our criteria? Do you agree? So definitely not 2,500, it's 1,570. And of course, our profit exceeds $3,000, right? You guys agree? And this is not cherry picked. We're just looking back, literally today's May 29th, we're just looking back 90 days, give or take 1 day, right? So we're looking back 90 days. And the other thing is, remember, we're risking $250 per trade, and it's telling us our largest losing trade is $250. Our largest winning trade is 562. So a little bit more than that to our setting that we're looking at, right? So the cool part here is that it does everything. It decides when we're getting in, when we're getting out. It decides all the things, right? So what we can do is we can take a look at, see if we can get some trades here. So this will show all of the trades. And what you'll see here is our quantity is all types of random quantity. So it's not always trading 5 contracts or 10 contracts. These are pre-calculated within our risk parameters. Remember, we're fixed risk, right? So if our risk is fixed, then that means the quantity and the size of the candles, whatever we're looking at, has to kind of vary a little bit to keep that risk kind of set up in being even, right? So if we were to look at our analysis here, you're like, Matt, do I gotta wait, 90 days to get an account funded? And the answer is no. Right here is actually where we would have crossed our, looks like about 3 weeks, we would have crossed our very first level of $3,000, which is basically, hey, guess what? You have reached your goal and you get what's called a PA account. A PA account is essentially a performance account. And guess what you can do with a PA account? You can request a payout, right? That's basically, hey, Apex, put some money in my actual account. Like, show me the money, right? That's what a payout is. You can request that that's what a PA account does, okay? Now, here's the cool part. How many accounts do you guys think Apex will allow one person to have? You can have more than one at a time. How many accounts? Because you can, right? 20. You can have 20 accounts. 20 accounts. Well, you're like, well, shoot, do I have to run 20 different bots? Actually, we have some technology called a trade copier. And I think I have it open. Need to make sure my account numbers aren't showing. Okay, there we go. So there's a screenshot of here's what our trade copier looks like. And so you can literally run this in multiple accounts. You can literally take a single account and copy your trades into, you'll see I have PA and regular evaluation account. So I can run a bot in one account and copy it into up to 20 different accounts. So that makes it pretty simple to scale. So maybe you start with one account, two accounts, and you can scale this. It's pretty simple to set up. Okay. So again, it doesn't have to take 90 days. We're using a 90-day, looking back 90 days, just using some of our default settings here. 90 days, we would have crossed our $3,000 goal. We would have got a PA account, and then we would have grown it another almost 3,000 plus, grown that account another $3,000. And that would have been what? Eligible for withdrawal or payout, right? So the cool part about this is if you were to think about, well, in this case, because we're the only company that I know of that uses fixed risk, we're not using what's called, what some of you guys may know of as dollar cost averaging, or using what is referred to as a grid or martingale system. What does that mean? You guys may have seen this before. Imagine buying two contracts you want to go higher and they go lower, right? And the bot will automatically add to a losing position. This is not what you want, right? You do not want this. And this is what most bot companies do. And then if it moves against you again, they will double your position, move against you more, double it again, double again. And as you can see, you're digging a deeper and deeper hole. Now, keep in mind, because this is a funded account, you have to be in cash at the end of the day. You can't like do this and let this play out over many, many days and hope to kind of get back to break even. That's what most of these systems do, is they hope for you to bounce and kind of get back to break even. The problem with martingale, the problem with all of this is what? Well, a lot of times you're waiting for a really tiny win and you're sitting on a really big loss. You're waiting for an $80 positive trade and you're sitting on an $1,800 loss. Well, if you guys can imagine, you have to be in cash at the end of the day. This becomes a huge problem, right? How many of you guys have seen in the last 3 or 4 months, the market just literally like poop its pants, just like fall off a cliff? It, right? Like it literally has done that many days, unrelenting, no mercy, and you have to be in cash. So those types of systems are a fantastic way to blow up your account. But guess what those things do is they will claim to have a 90% plus win rate. Well, the problem with the 90% win rate, what's the downside? Well, what happens during that 10%? Well, if you guys can imagine pulling up a chair at a table game in Las Vegas, and when you win, I don't know, $100. But when you lose your house. How many of you guys are now excited about a 90% win rate? Nobody. Why? Because your 10% could be absolutely devastating. That could be a really, really bad thing. All the more reason why you need what we refer to as a fixed risk. You're risking a certain amount. You're preserving your capital. If the trade loses, it loses. It kicks you out. You preserve your capital and you move on to the next trade, right? Does that make sense? And so the idea here is that with this bot, you can get in and out pretty quickly. In this case, we're using a 1-minute chart just as an example, and we can get in and out pretty quick, right? So we're in and out on just a small amount of candles. And a lot of times these trades play out over a period of 3, 4, 5 minutes. I'm trying to find some more trades on my screen. They're here somewhere. There you go. There's one. Oh, there's a losing trade. Let's see if we have some more trades. Actually, you know what I can do? Let's do it this way. Mega Scalper historical. So let's see if we can take a look at, there we go. We're just some more trades. So you can see the lines aren't on the chart here, but you can see short here, take profit here. Now, what we were just looking at with those lines on the chart, those are literally drawing where we're entering. You guys can see this is using 14 contracts, this is using 25 contracts. That is our risk management system doing its job, doing its calculations, right? Sometimes it's saying right here, exit on max drawdown. This is taking profits, right? 25 contracts, 14 contracts, right? So it's literally calculating and doing all the math for you, getting in, getting out. So not only does this actually set up the trade, it actually injects the orders for you, just to be clear. This does the work for you, okay? So the question is, do any of you have questions so far? Does anyone have any questions so far? Go ahead and throw it into the chat pane. Looks like we have a pretty good size audience here today. Go ahead and throw it in the chat pane if you have any questions. We'll do our best to address those, okay? So the biggest question that people ask us over time is they say, hey, Matt, if this is like all, well and good, like, why do you even offer this, like, versus, growing your own accounts? Well, we actually do grow our own accounts, but we are a small team. We do have some limited impact having a small team. But we are really after impact more than anything, just kind of helping people change lives. Now, if you guys think $16 a month for the funded account is one thing, that's actually the Apex fee. That's what they charge to have the funded account, the right to kind of apply to grow the account, right? So the big thing here is that we're not getting rich off $150 a month. That's what our subscription is, $150 a month to use our technology, right? $150 a month. We set this up very much like a car lease. You're not having to pay some huge, if any of you guys have looked at other bots, they're anywhere from $6,000 a year. We've seen all the way up to $25,000 a year. We're trying to set this up as a kind of a technology lease, okay? The other thing we do is we do give back regularly to our community. Myself and our team members serve on boards of nonprofits. Now, the Jumpstart program, the bot program we've set up, it does provide you with the different video modules to get started and get up. You go through the initial videos, you get up and it gives you everything you need to get up and go live, right? So it takes 3-4 hours to get through the training material and get up and live. You do get access to all of the trading bots. Remember, today we only talked about one, which was the Mega Scalper, right? The Mega Scalper was the one we talked about today. And it does give you access to the other 7 as well, which we can spend lots of time talking about all of them, how they all work. But this is just, today we're talking about just the Mega Scalper. It does also provide you with, we do have weekly classes. Usually myself teach 2-3 a week. So we do give you live bot classes for that ongoing support. And then we do give you access to our online community of like-minded bot traders. Now, we do include our dashboard trade copier. It is worth about $800. And if you guys don't believe me, I actually found this the other day. This is a screenshot of someone else's trade copier, a third party that they offer. And they literally have listed for $795. Again, we don't charge you $795 for this. We bundle it with everything we give you, right? So obviously months ago, the Mega Scalper didn't exist. Now it does. We didn't charge anything extra. We do spend time and money building out our strategies and providing the technology and the additional bots. It's all bundled together. So it does also include the updates to the current technology. That's all bundled into that subscription, as well as any new bots, any new technology, any new updates. And if you were to add all this up, you'll see that we do have a lot of technology we spent time and money building, including the community, including the classes, including the technology, including the trade copier, including all the updates, all of the things. It is currently on our website for $1,800 and $150 a month. It's set up like a car lease, right? That doesn't mean, oh, I pay the upfront fee And so now I don't have to pay the monthly payment. Well, it's actually set up as a deal today, $450 down and $150 a month. And we only provide this via this webinar. It is not available on our website. We only do that here inside our webinars. And this is actually the very, very first webinar we've done about the Mega Scalper. And I'm going to go ahead and pause, see if you guys have any questions. And that is the majority of what we have for you guys today.